Big Sills! Happy 4th of July Friday. Going into one of my favorite holidays of the year. Got to tell you, when I was a kid, here, flying kites, fireworks, food, family. Man, it was some of the greatest times of my life. You know, I tell people this all the time. When I grew up, I never went to McDonald's. I never went to like restaurants. I went to my family's homes. I was raised in a very Italian home. Okay? Very Italian. My folks spoke Italian when I was younger. I mean, 50% of the time. I mean, they spoke Italian in my house. And I would go to my Aunt Leela's, then I'd go to my family, the Pacuzos, the Rodas. Man, I never had to go to McDonald's or restaurants or places. And every holiday, especially the 4th of July at my Uncle Pat's, was just fantastic. Man, then my Uncle Richard would get all these fireworks and we would light them off in our backyard. My grandmother would make hundreds of lobsters. People would come over. My aunt, all my uncles. It was just absolutely a wonderful time. I tell people this. I wasn't raised conventionally with a mother and father. Okay? I was raised by my grandparents, but I couldn't have had better parents in my life than my grandparents and my aunt, my Uncle Richard. Absolutely no way. And by the way, I don't cry about it. I love how I was raised. I love where I was raised. I love the whole thing. Greatest childhood of mine. Didn't start well, but it was one of the greatest childhoods, and I would never want to do it again. Never want to be not around. One of the things I wish is that my daughter could have experienced all those great times. Okay, just phenomenal. And holidays like 4th of July, man, just brought the best of us out. I mean, well, my grandfather used to have a time limit. Everybody had to get the hell out of the house, and was always my grandmother that had to kind of like settle the room. But man, I hope each and every single person has a great 4th of July weekend. I mean, I look forward to this time. And again, I get to reflect on really some of the greatest times of my life. And now I'm with my daughter, and we get the opportunity to do the same thing for her. We try to kind of emulate a little bit, because my wife, when she first met my family, she's like, this is like fantasy land. I go, I know, isn't it? Really great. So I hope you have a great one as well. 27 days to the start of training camp for the Eagles and many teams. Most likely your favorite team. 27 days heading into the weekend and into the holidays. Incredible. I mean, we're here, man. We're inside of 30 days. Let's go. National Football League season's right around the corner. Couple big more moves. And like Gary Cobb said earlier in the week, I think there's a B move that's going to be made. Now, would we not agree? Tone, everyone. Did we not think the Gardner-Johnson deal was a B move when he made it at first? I mean, 10 days before the start of the season. What were your expectations on Gardner-Johnson being added to the Eagle roster? Dude, I didn't expect a Pro Bowl season out of the guy. Nobody does. 10 days. So wait a minute. 10 days before the start of a regular season. You think you're going to get a Pro Bowl performance out of adding a guy right before the week leading up to the season? Absolutely not. So a B move became an A move. Became an A move. It's incredible. That's the kind of stuff that I think he's looking at right now as he scours all these rosters as everyone gets ready for training camp. Howie's a magician at that. So we're going to hit on that a little bit. So Harden opts in. We kind of got the news during the show. Here's what we found out yesterday. And Tone's wearing a black Sixer hat. I think it's appropriate because that's the days of the Sixers right now. They're in dark days right now. So he opts in. The Sixers called his bluff. Nobody out there wanted him. Nobody out there wanted him for the money he was looking. There was no $200 million deal out there. Rick Barry said that to you. There was absolutely no deal like that out there. And now you're saying, well, they're going to trade him. Where does he fit? And he wants to go to the Clippers? If you're Kawhi Leonard, who would you rather play with, Paul George or James Harden? This makes no sense. His best chance to win an NBA title is right where he is. And the Sixers know that, and so does James Harden. He could go anywhere in the NBA, and dude, he wants to dominate the ball again. He didn't like leading the NBA in assists. Hey, let me ask you this. You think that guy really enjoyed the fact that he led the NBA in assists? That would be like a wide receiver going, hey, I didn't get 100 catches, but I'm happy. He's a shooter of the basketball. You think he was happy this year? Ask yourself, a legendary point scorer in the NBA is happy distributing the basketball. You think he really was happy? Hey, I'm happy that guy got more catches than me. Come on, man. Dude, this guy, I don't know. I don't see it. By the way, Gary Sheffield, we're going to effort him today, and we hope to get him at the bottom of the hour. 500 home runs, one of the legendary Major League Baseball guys. I hope we're able to catch up with him, and we're shooting for the bottom of this hour here. So we welcome you aboard. You know, I was listening to the Sports Take guys. I like those guys that, you know, just bang a bunch of topics around. Rob does such a good job setting up shows. He does a real good job, and you can hear him on WIP as well. And they had Marcus Hayes on. And Marcus Hayes, I guess, got beat up a little bit because, let me tell you, and I tell, Tone is such a young guy in this business. And I tell all young potential broadcasters and people who want to host shows this. If you have a strong opinion, always remember something. People like challenging strong opinions. And then they turn around and they call it controversial. Strong opinion people, they dub as controversial. And most of the time for me, I have to use words with conviction. It's not sensationalism. It's conviction. You can't waffle on a topic. As many of you know, I was in iHeart and I was at Clear Channel for 16 years. And one of the greatest educations I ever got in broadcasting was by Rush Limbaugh. Rush taught me broadcasting. I thought I had known everything. And a guy by the name of Gabe Hobbs, who was the head of broadcasting for 25 years, sent me down to Palm Beach, Florida, where Rush has his studios, or had his studios. Since, of course, passed away. And again, I didn't really dig all of his politics. It wasn't the point. It was about executing content. That's why they sent me there, or more so to the point, that's why Gabe sent me there. It's executing of content. That's the difference between great orators and great communicators. It's distributing the content. Do you know what the first lesson Rush Limbaugh said to me? So he goes, I want you to read this Miami Herald to me. So I read the Miami Herald, and I read it to him. Then I heard him read it, and I was like, holy shit. He goes, dude, I read the same newspaper you do, but I deliver it different than you. That's what makes me better than you. Right then and there, he stopped me in my tracks. I used to take 100 phone calls on my show at WDAE in Tampa. He goes like this, so you're an on-air traffic cop? And you allow your audience to dictate your content? Everything I thought I knew about broadcasting went right out the window. Now, streaming, and I do believe that Rush always gave his particular audience what they wanted. Servicing the client. Okay? The people that listen to you, give them what they want to hear, but in your take. So Marcus Hayes was talking, and he said he made a comment. We made this comment the other day. And JM goes, Rush's voice was irritating. He talked to 75 million people a week. Irritating? Oh, no. You mean profiting. Rush Limbaugh talked to 75 million people a week. Okay? 75 million. Nobody in the history of radio has ever spoken to more people than him. Whether you liked him or not wasn't the point I'm talking about here. 75 million. You can hate him all you want. At the end of the day, he's the greatest broadcaster in the history of radio. Because he could connect. And because he had conviction. And because he delivered content differently. And where I'm going with this with Marcus Hayes, Marcus said something about Jalen Hurts. Okay? He said this, that he's an insecure guy. And I guess he got hammered for it. You know, Tone, we kind of talked about this the other day about Jalen Hurts. Are you kidding me? Of course he's insecure. Do you know who the greatest NFL football player of all time and the most insecure football player of all time is? Tom Brady. Is that a bad thing? It led to 7 NFL championships. Brady had to be the most insecure guy of all time. You think Jordan wasn't insecure? Let me tell you what insecurity to Jalen Hurts and Michael Jordan and Tom Brady means. Here's how I take that comment that Marcus threw out there. Here's how I took it. Well, those guys don't have finish lines. Do you understand what I mean by that? That guys like that don't have finish lines? There's no finish line for those guys. They're constantly moving the finish line. There's no such thing as a finish line when you're driven like that. You don't go, job well done. No. Jalen Hurts will never have a finish line. That's why it's hard to walk away from the game like Brady. Brady had a tough time crossing the finish line. He couldn't leave it. He sacrificed his family, his health, everything, because he had a tough time getting through the finish line. Same with Jordan. Jordan was so compelled and loved the game so much, he had to come back for those shitty Wizard seasons. And you know what those shitty Wizard seasons did? They probably made him realize, I have to go. Dude, the last thing to go in people like Jalen Hurts or Tom Brady or Michael Jordan or Tiger Woods is their heart. Your body breaks. Tiger's body's breaking down. You think he doesn't have the same passion that he has today that he had when he was 17 years old, winning all those U.S. amateur tournaments? Absolutely not. Jordan at 60 still has the same desire to be Michael Jordan. He just doesn't have the body anymore. Father time takes that ability away from you, but not the love and the passion of the game. I believe that Jalen Hurts is built in the same He's built in the same laboratory that those guys are built in. And so when you hear the word insecurity, there's a difference between Carson Wentz insecurity and Jalen Hurts insecurity. You know what that is? Think about it. This guy's more worried about everybody around than what they're thinking of him. Jalen Hurts is worried about his legacy and wanting to win and continuing to do greater things and to continue to get better and better. There's such a different, they're polar opposites in insecurity. I've been around so many insecure men, great ones. They just can't get through the finish line because they don't have one. So Marcus made that comment that what's driving him is his insecurity. And people took that as like a rip. It's not a rip. It's actually a compliment. Anything, as Jordan would say, that throws another log on the fire to keep that burning desire burning. Dude, that's what makes those guys special. It's not a negativity. Jalen Hurts is driven by more than just the money. You know, it's funny. I asked you that's one of the reasons I asked you those questions yesterday about the 255. You don't think that validates Jalen Hurts. It's just part of the motivation. Because can I tell you what the 255 really represents to me? He's getting validated. All the things, the money, the success. You know, I saw something today, and we're going to hit on it. Man, I'll tell you what. The national media does not respect your guy. They come up with all kind of quirky ways not to give him his kudos. Okay? All kinds of quirky ways to come up with making sure that they don't put him in the light. of the Trevor Lawrences and some of these other guys that are out there. I mean, look, I've said this to you before. Do I think Josh Allen and those guys have more talent than Hurts? Yeah, but I tell you what, do those guys have more will than that guy? I don't know. I don't think so. Jalen Hurts closes the gap with these other guys with his desire. Tom Brady is not the player Aaron Rodgers is. He's not the player Aaron Rodgers is. He's not. If you were going to draft a player based on sole physical skills, Tom Brady would not be drafted ahead of Aaron Rodgers. But you would never in a million years take Aaron Rodgers over Tom Brady, would you? What doesn't that answer your question about when you try to compare Josh Allen and Jalen Hurts? Does it matter if he's a better player? Does it matter how insecure he is? Does it matter? It didn't matter with Rodgers and Brady. Don't you see this? You know, I guess sometimes when I talk like this, it's because athletes, they have a different opinion on how to get to where they want to get to and their promised land. Because you know why? You don't have outside bullshit getting in the way of success. My daughter called me when I was younger, one of the most egotistical men on the planet. And you know why? I didn't give a shit about anything around me. Nothing. I didn't care. Nothing. You may quantify if I was a success in the NFL or not, or whatever. I made it to the Pro Football League, and actually, I was almost as drafted as high as Jalen Hurts, and I was drafted higher than Joe Montana, Russell Wilson. You can say whatever you want. I'm one of the 29,000 men in the history of the NFL over 107 years. You're not. You don't do that just by hoping it happens. You have to want the desire to do that. You drive yourself physically, mentally. You put everything else aside. It's not about cashing paychecks and kissing cheerleaders. That's not what this is about. So are you insecure? You bet your ass you are. Gee, I wonder what my boss thinks of me. Gee, I wonder what my coach thinks of me. Gee, I wonder what my position coach thinks of me. Why does he have me second team on the depth chart? All that shit goes into it. You become a mental case. And you have to overcome that and train your mind just to think about what you can control. Sitting around worrying about what somebody's doing at a picnic means dick to me. It used to. Now I'm better at it. I've got to open my mind. It took me a long time, man. And I'm just one of these little. Can you imagine Tiger and them guys? It's not an excuse. It's a fact. Jalen Hurts giving a shit about a picnic is probably 75th on his list of things. That's why, how many times are you hearing Tom Brady make this point? Okay? I got to be a better man. I got to be a better father. I got to do all the things now that he's trying to catch up on the things he didn't care about. It's not being a better father. He's trying to catch up. He's trying to catch up. Dude, being a pro athlete, everyone's like, God, look at all the money, the fame. It's true. That's why you hear athletes say this. I'd never want to do anything ever again, and I'd never want to do it any different way. Your family, man, you don't give a shit about them half the time. Now, I'm not talking about health. You don't care what little Johnny's doing at the park. Can I take the kid to the park? No, I got to run sprints, or I got to get down to the gym, or I got OTAs. You don't give a shit about Johnny at the park because you're trying to do something that very few men in the history of the planet can do. It's hard, man. Most athletes are not very good at balance. Okay? I think, am I right, Tone? I think that's exactly what Marcus Hayes was talking about when it comes to Jalen Hurts and insecurity. Jalen has great balance in his life. I think that's because of the way he was raised. Don't think that doesn't play into it as well. M. Reyes goes, Hurts is not. Wentz was insecure. Whatever, dude. You would never know what I'm talking about. Okay? Because you're not listening. You're just not listening. You're fueled. So you're trying to tell me, M. Reyes, that he wasn't fueled by being told to sit down in Alabama in a positive way. Being a great teammate. Then having to go to Oklahoma, transfer out of Alabama. Then not being respected enough where people thought you could be a franchise quarterback taken in the second round, and nobody in Philadelphia brought him in to be the starter. Hell, last year this time, you guys in this same room were saying he's not the guy. Half of you were. Now all of you pretend, or I should say the other half, are pretending they never said it. You're telling me that all those naysayers and all of that didn't fuel him to be who he is and where he is right now. You couldn't be wrong. You couldn't be more wrong. You couldn't. We all have insecurities. How we channel it or respond to it determines our own story and our history. You're damn right. We define our history by our ups and downs. Everybody can be a front runner. Carson Wentz is a front runner. He's the greatest example of a front runner. That's a front runner. All of a sudden, when there's a dent in the fender, this guy gets in a massive car wreck and it's over. Some of these guys, man, take dents in the fender. Okay? M. Reyes goes, Hurts was always a championship caliber. Where? He never won a championship as a starting quarterback. Ever. Where was that? Actually, Nick Saban thought he didn't. He benched him. Got beat by Deshaun Watson when he started in a national championship game. That probably determined it also. I don't believe Nick Saban thought he had a championship caliber mentality. That's why they benched him and yanked him. So you're making a story up again. That's made up by Eagle fans that he has a championship caliber. Really? That's not how people perceived him. Okay? Okay, Reyes, Wentz got you there too. What's the difference between what Carson Wentz did in 2017, Foles taking over, than what Jalen Hurts did at Alabama by getting him to the SEC title game and national championship by the way he played and getting replaced by Tua? What's the difference? It's the same journey. Same journey, but you want to change the narrative again. You see what he just did? He got him there. So did Wentz. Got you to the Super Bowl too. But you take that away from Wentz. Okay? Yeah, whatever, guy. Ever. Okay. Not debating idiotic takes. Think about that. You guys call Carson Wentz doesn't have a championship gene, but yet you say, well, he got Alabama to the national championship. Then he was replaced, not by injury either. At least Wentz has an excuse. He got hurt. What was Jalen's? You had a coach who did not respect him and think he had the championship gene when all along he did. I'm not saying he didn't have it. I'm saying he had a drive in him because others had. Get this. That was Nick Saban's insecurity. Nick Saban showed you insecurity right there. That was Nick Saban's insecurity. Okay? Think about that. Whatever, dude. Can't expand it now. Jalen got him there. Now you can go into a tirade now and do whatever, man. Some people like standing on an anthill and think they're standing on Everest when they're screaming, really, and no one hears you. You know, that's how I look at probably around 20% of the people that are in here sometimes. Some of you stand on anthills. You stand on anthills and think people hear you. It's all good. I like Marcus Hayes. I did. I like that interview. I like that player. By the way, we're going to talk hopefully here at the bottom of the hour here with our friend Gary Sheffield. Talk about a guy who was man, one thing about Chef, if we do get him, we're efforting him. One thing about Sheffield, man, you could not ever tell Gary Sheffield ever anything that he didn't think was going to benefit him or the team that he was on. What a great ball player. Hopefully we're able to get him on here. I do want to take a look at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That'll be the week 3 opponent. We're going kind of through the roster of games that the Eagles are going to play. And yesterday we looked at the Vikings. We looked at the Patriots. Man, I'll tell you what, with the Patriots, man, I don't know what they're doing up there, in my opinion. I still look at that as a pretty good defensive football team, but I think the Patriots are going to be a 6-win team. I think Belichick will probably not make it to that Don Shula 300 wins. Okay? I think they'll end up probably cutting it and putting him in the front office. Okay? Maniac, hope you have a great 4th, my friend. Okay? Hope you have a great 4th. You're one of the good folks in here. We really appreciate you always coming aboard. I got the Eagles 30, Patriots 20. Speed, if they take care of business, they'll probably do that. I like that score. I would say this to you also, that probably that Viking game, I could probably see, tell me if you're 31-14. Does that sound right? 31-14. Eagles, right? Somewhere in there, right? When you're talking in week 2. I think the Vikings were the week 2 opponent a year ago also. Right? 42-17. I think that's a big stretch for a team that likes to run the ball to put 42 points up. That's going to be a lot. But we have to wait and see how Brian Flores impacts that football team up in Minnesota. But I think somewhere 34-17, somewhere in there. Okay? 41-33. I don't, because Minnesota scores a lot of points. Maybe. I want to see Vikings 17, Eagles 31. I kind of like that. I mean, I'm with you, Speed. I think it's 31-17, 31-14, something like that. Okay. So did you see what Tristan Wilf said today? He thinks the Bucs are a 12-5 team coming out of OTAs. He thinks they're 12-5. And I'm like, wow. Because this is the week 3 opponent for the Eagles. And I think 2023 is going to be a pretty rough ride for the Bucs. Okay? I think it's going to be a pretty rough ride. Here's the problem that you get with the Bucs too. Think about where they are going into this season. So hey guys, what happens when you win the division and you're 7-9? Or what were they? 8-9. What happens when you win the division? Okay? What happens? Get the toughest schedule. All right. Hey, we've had a great week. George Foreman was on the other day. Kurt Schilling was on the other day. And what made me want to get Gary Sheffield on, I asked Kurt Schilling who one of the toughest players that he ever pitched against. And we've had Gary Sheffield on with us numerous times. And Gary, without a doubt, man, 500-plus home runs, 97. He won the World Series with the New York Yankees. And he joins us right now here on the National Football Show. Chef, how you doing, man?
I'm good, man. I'm just here with these boys with USA team. They down
Oh,
here getting
really?
ready. Yeah, you see them. I can't find them. They're in the background over here, finna make a lot
I
of
see
noise
him.
in the pool. You see them?
Yeah.
So we're by the pool right now. Just a lot of young up and coming talent, and I get to watch it firsthand. So I'm out here hanging out with them and giving some encouraging words.
I love that, Chef. Chef, are you doing more of that now since your playing days have been over now, giving back to the community? I know you used to do that in Tampa all the time with Doc. You guys would go around Clearwater, Tampa area there all the time and do that. You're doing the same stuff now as well?
Absolutely. You got a lot of talent out here. These kids, they need the fundamentals of, old school thinking because they have the sabermetrics. And so the sabermetrics kind of take away from the instinct. So what we try to instill in these kids that it's still the game. It's still a game. You have to play the game a certain way. And a lot of times people don't think it translates the old school way. But if they would have told us to just hit home runs and hit 220, our job would have been a lot easier. So I teach these kids, you be a 300 hitter, be a 30 home run guy, be a 100 RBI guy, and be a 100 runs scored, and then you walk 100 times. If you focus on those things, you're going to have a monster year.
I'll tell you what, Chef, if you played in today's Major League Baseball and they don't look at you with 100 strike, I mean, Mike Trout strikes out 150 times a year, and I'm like this. Dude, if you're Sheffield or you're Bonds or you're any of those guys, nobody takes the walk of shame back 4 times to the dugout, and they just gets up and thinks everything is cool. That's changed. That's really been a big change in the game, hasn't it?
It is. That's why we don't, as older players, especially me, I don't talk about the players in a negative way because they're only given what they're given. This is what they're asking them to do. These guys going out and doing it. Mike Trout is one of the best in the game. He's one of the best to ever do it. Based on the talent that he's playing against right now, he's probably standing on top of the food chain. But if it was our era, he'd probably be in the top 20 somewhere, because the numbers that he's putting up, we did every year. And so, we know that as players, but there's nothing to knock against these kids because that's what they're asked to do.
Chef, what's your take? We're based in Philadelphia. What's your take on Bryce Harper and so far his career? Are you a fan of what he does in Philadelphia?
I just absolutely love this guy. He's one of my favorite players. He plays with an edge, and that's all you can ask for. He has a little bit of old school in him, and I'll pay to watch him. It's only so many players that I'll pay to watch, and he's one of the guys I'll pay to watch. I just love the way he goes about his business.
Man, he really does. And you know what, too, Chef? He, like you said, he's got that old school vibe because to me, he fits right into Philly. And that's one thing today that you really don't see because baseball moves around these players so much. But man, he loves playing in Philadelphia. But tell me, Chef, one year the Phillies are a good team, the next year they're not. I called them more so a one-year wonder. Then you take a look at the Mets. How hard is it to stay up there on that level like they were a year ago, year in and year out, especially in baseball?
Well, baseball is hard enough. You have to rely on 24 guys. And when you're talking about everybody has to be in sync on one page, one goal in mind, that's hard to do in a room. That's where managing, coaching, scouting department, all that has to come into play because if you get one bad apple, it can ruin the whole tree. And so baseball, more than any other sport, Brady, he gets the ball every time. He gets to touch it every time. LeBron get to touch it every time. And so in baseball, you only get your 4 chances. And if they decide to walk, a Barry Bonds or a Gary Sheffield 3 times, we only have 1 chance to do something. So, everything is objective. You can make any player as great as you want, and you can discredit any player however you want. So, if you know baseball, people that know this game, truly know this game, you can't get around who's the best players and where the talent is at. So trying to win, and then Bryce Harper's situation, he's what you're going to get from him. And so it's the other guys that has to do their part for them to win.
Gary, do you like the pitch clock?
I love the pitch clock because it allows the fans to be able to get home at a decent hour. And so this game is about the fans. And anything you're doing to help the fans, out, I think is a great thing. A lot of other things in the game, is suspect. But I like the bigger bases, because if they had the bigger bases when I was playing, I wouldn't have broke my wrist. So, I didn't have nowhere to go. So now these players have a lane that they can go to for safety and things like that. But I don't like it that you can't knock down the shortstop or the second baseman to break up a double play or run over the catcher, because that can help your team win a ball game. And so we understand injuries, but we're trying to win a ball game.
Gary, what happened to the personalities in the sport, though? I mean, Mike Trout, if I put Mike Trout in a mall in Sarasota or in Philadelphia, I don't know, 100 people could figure out who the guy was. But if I put Kirk Cousins, and I'm not even naming some of the top guys, they'd know exactly who he is. Why is baseball so like wanting to push away from the personalities like yourself and guys like Bonds and them dudes that really made fans want to watch the sport?
Well, people they don't understand, people like me, people like Barry Bonds, people like whoever you name, we make the world go round. Everybody is not the same. Fans want to see different action. They want to see different personalities. They want to see something that they may be driving to the park and say, I don't know what I'm going to get that day. And that's what makes it worth paying that money to see a baseball game. But if you're going to get robots, people are not interested in that. That's not a good product to sell. People want to see Ricky Henderson almost run into the dugout after a home run and pip it around the bases, or Dave Parker shooting fireworks out of his fingers, going around the bases. So that's what made the fun game. That's what made the game fun for me. And I think it's going to make it fun for the fans nowadays. And, but baseball, they want robots now.
Shohei Ohtani. Gary, this guy last night hit another home run. He's got 29 on the season. He's got 309. I mean, Gary, he could win 15 ball games this year, have a 309 ERA, and hit 60 home runs and hit 300. Have you ever seen anything like this?
Well, they never allowed it. They never allowed it. So the thing is that I embrace it. I love it. He's with the way they talk about Babe Ruth, he has to surpass Babe Ruth at this point, in my eyes. I've never seen Babe Ruth play. I only hear what people say, but you couldn't have been better than this kid. And so I have to take this kid over anybody that ever played the game.
Sorry, Gary, but Babe Ruth played in a white guy beer drinking league. And there's no, hey, if you don't have diversity in a sport, I'm sorry, man. You don't have to go west of the Mississippi. Babe Ruth's a fat beer drinking white guy in a softball league. I don't know, man. I'm not going there. As a fat beer drinking white guy. The Mets, what's going on with the Mets in your opinion? I mean, how could you have Buck Showalter, manager of the year a year ago, and then you turn around and you look at the Mets now, and they're like 17 games like out of first. I think they're like 8 games under 500, $365 million payroll, Gary, and they're going nowhere quick.
Well, you look at their roster and you see the pieces in Verlander and Scherzer and Alonso. And so when you look at that, you say to yourself, what's missing? And so when you look at them, even if Verlander's on the mound, Scherzer's on the mound, when you look out there at their roster, you have to question a lot of things on the roster. But I know Mr. Steve Cohen, he's new at this, and he just bought the team. He has to get his feet wet. You can't expect the owner to come in, a brand new owner that's willing to pay money for whatever players that's necessary, and expect him to win right away, because he wants to get his feet wet. He wants to see what he has. But the bottom line is you have to have the right people in the system that identify where the talent is. And when you got people on that roster that I can look at right now, and I could tell you right now, is 4 or 5 people on that roster that I don't even know how they even got to certain points. And so with that being said, if you ask anybody around the league, they probably wouldn't say it, but I'm the type of player that I'll say it, and I'll say it out loud. The bottom line is your roster is not a strong roster to win a championship. You're paying money like you're trying to win a championship, but I can guarantee you, if George Steinbrenner, that was his roster, it wouldn't be the same tomorrow or yesterday.
Well, I'll tell you what, 2 last questions for Gary Sheffield. Poolside interview. That's why you're epic, Gary. You understand. That's why I love you, and that's why you're epic here. Can you imagine if you had the universal designated hitter instead of 509? I gotta think 609.
Well, I'll tell you this. This is what I tell people all the time. The way I used to hit to the scoreboard. Whatever my team needed, that's what I gave it. If they would have told me, Gary, it's okay to hit 220, I'll have 800 home runs. So I would go up there and try to hit a home run every single time because I knew the fans wouldn't boo me because I'm hit 220. When I see OPS on the scoreboard and not batting average, I already know what's going on. And I know why they're putting it up there, because they want to hide the fact that there's no talent. And so, when they talk about the shift, they want to put guys next to each other so they don't, when a guy don't have range, he don't have to play with range. The ball is coming to him. So the talent, when I hear people tell me, I had this debate the other day, they were saying, these guys are bigger, faster, stronger. I said, well, prove it. I say, well, every time you name a Judd or a Stanton, I can give you a Dave Parker, Don Baylor. I can give you size, and I can give you all of that. And I can give you velocity. And I said, so when you say everybody's throwing 100, okay, well, why is everybody throwing 100? How many innings are they going? Well, they're going 3 or 4 innings. I said, that's called relievers. And so basically you got a bunch of relievers throwing 100. They're not pitchers. And so that's where the game is gone. And so when it's time to get those guys out of there, they're bringing another reliever that's throwing 100. So that's the way the game is played today.
Final question for you. One of my dear friends and one of my family's friends have been the Gwynns. And Alicia, I love Alicia Gwynn. She
Yes.
follows my daughter and all. And I said that I would ask Gary Sheffield this. And Tony knew Barry Bonds they were very tight friends, as you were friends with all these guys.
Yes.
Who was a tougher out, Tony Gwynn or Barry Bonds?
Tony Gwynn, without a question. Without a question. Barry Bonds knows, I tell him all the time, the greatest hitter that ever played this game, bat to ball, is Tony Gwynn. Now, when you're talking about overall, it's Barry Bonds. When you're talking about give me everything, it's Barry Bonds. I look at it, I was the same type of player as Barry Bonds. I'm going to walk, I'm going to score 100 runs, I'm not going to strike out. It's only a few of us, but they want to put guys above me and Barry Bonds because, they're more liked. You can like who you want to like. But when you're talking about a guy get pitched to and never ran from, then you put up big numbers. That don't impress people like me. Walk 168 times and then put those numbers up and then talk to me.
Gary, I got to sneak this in. How in the world do you put Harold Baines in the Hall of Fame and not you?
Harold Baines was a great player. You could never get me to talk about it.
No disrespect, but Gary.
Right. No, I get it. I get what you're saying. I would never disrespect another player. Kudos to him. That's a great honor that he has to be in the Hall of Fame. Anybody that gets that honor, it's a great honor. And I tell you what, the bottom line is the people know what it is, and know why it's happening. And so the bottom line is, one thing is you got to have certain numbers. Then the next thing, numbers don't matter. So we know what it is, and that's why you can't get worked up about it, because at the end of the day, he know what kind of player he was, and they know what kind of player I was, and so on and so on.
509 home runs, 9-time All-Star, champion on the 97 Yankee team, probably the best team in that run under Torrey and those guys, and now giving back to the community. Man, you're such a great dude, man. I always love getting you on, and thank you so much for always finding time for me, Gary.
Thanks for having me, man. It was a pleasure.
You bet. The legendary Gary Sheffield. You talk about a guy that could knock the cover off the baseball, my friends. That's a guy right there, man. And for him not to be in the Baseball Hall of Fame, he's dead right. No diss on Harold Baines or some of the other guys are putting in. But see, this guy didn't conform with the media, man. He's not going to sit there and kiss some guy's ass in the media who wants a story and make some story up about him so that they could just write something. This guy was his own dude, man. And you're talking about leadership in that dugout, in that 97 team. You're trying to tell me you think Jeter was a leader of that Yankee team? Not happening. That dude was the leader of that ball team. Okay? That guy was the leader. Because you know why? He's a no-shit guy. Dude, I love playing with guys like that. Those are the kind of guys you play with, man. Those are the kind of guys, 97 Marlins. Bro, let me just say this to you, man. Gary Sheffield, man, when he used to bitch about the 25th man on the roster, you know what he was doing? He wasn't trying to do anything when it came to race baiting. You know what he was doing? They're going to put some stiff white guy out there on the 25th guy when the roster comes up, because you know why? They're not going to elevate anybody else, because that's just the way organizations were back when he played. And he was one of the only guys. You know what they called him? They called him a race baiter. That's the kind of shit that went on with sports writers back in the day. And that's why when they looked at him, they went, oh, this guy's just an angry. Let me stop there, because Big Sills is Italian. So, you know, we kind of like fit in anyway, man. we fit in everywhere. So it was absolutely great talking to Gary Sheffield. We really appreciate it. All right. We're going to reset now. We're going to get back into the National Football League here. So let's do this here. We were kind of hitting on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And I want to reset it again, because this is the week 3 opponent for the Eagles here. By the way, we'll get into the topics. Our topics at the top. Man, we got a ton of stuff to hit on yet. Oh my God. I got a Donovan McNabb topic. Then there's more disrespect for Hurts. It's at the top of the hour, but let me talk about the Bucs here, your week 3 opponent. And let's kind of rewind it again and reset it here. 2023 is going to be a bumpy ride for this team. And like I said to you, prior to the Gary Sheffield interview, here's the worst thing that could have happened to the Bucs. They win the division, right? What happens? You get a first place schedule. Right? So you're playing one of the best schedules in the league, and you were 8-9. That's not going to, especially when you're going through a transition. The Bucs are clearly in a rebuild. They got rid of a bunch of vets. I think Leonard Fournette was let loose with a bunch of other guys. They bring in and add Baker Mayfield. I believe this is his last chance. I think if I'm not mistaken, I think the Buccaneers had 8 draft picks. Okay, no Tom Brady. Now let me ask you this. Was it worth bringing Brady in when you know you're in a complete nuclear meltdown right now in 2023 if you're in Tampa? Okay? Dude, was it worth it? Brady changed the face of the franchise, but it was only going to be for a short. If you were Jason Light and you're the Glazers, you had to know, right? Hey, JM, all 3 years Brady made the postseason. They win a Super Bowl. They win division titles. They win an NFC championship. Was it worth it in the short time to maybe take some bumps and bruises over the next 3 or 4 years? Do you learn to, if you're a fan, do you live with what happened? I think you do. I think I'm okay. I'm all right. Look, they had 3 great football years that will go down in Buck history as some of the greatest years in the history of the franchise. Super Bowl, division titles, 3 straight playoff years. And if I'm not mistaken, prior to that, they hadn't made the playoffs in 11 years. Okay, am I right? The Bucs hadn't made the playoffs in like 11 years. So you have to eat, and get this, them and the Saints are kind of in the same boat. Salary cap hell. They like paid a ton of money to make it and they pushed all their chips. Here's what's crazy. The Rams and the Bucs pushed all their chips in, and it worked. The Denver Broncos push their chips in, and so far it's not. Here's a Yale. Think about this. Russell Wilson tried to do the same thing that Matthew Stafford and Tom Brady did. And now Aaron Rodgers is trying to do it. Those two franchises had success, and now they got a lot of pain coming. The Broncos, I think if you're going to have success and do this, you got to get the rewards quick. Because with an aging quarterback, you're not going to get it on the backside. Okay? Quan, it's your week 3 opponent, jackass. I'm sick of this guy. Dude, I'm looking at the Eagles' schedule. As usual, man, you're probably late to your own wife's pregnancy. It's okay. Okay. So anyway, during Capel, I'm kidding, Quan. You're good, dog. 4th of July weekend. Nobody gets shit on here today except a few, and you ain't one. Russell has his legacy on the line. He needs to turn it around. Hey, would we say this about Russell Wilson? If Russell Wilson has a blowout in doesn't have a blowout in, if he has a blowout in Denver, it could stop him from going to the Hall of Fame? I think if that thing blows up on him and he doesn't go to the Hall and he doesn't have good seasons, okay? Yeah, Twits, that's great. Don't do that to me, man. Come on. Get my heart going. It's not good. It's not good, my friend. It's not good. Dude, I'll tell you what, Russell Wilson doesn't turn that thing around in Denver, man. People are going to look at this when it comes, hey, you didn't do what Brady did. How special were you? I think he's a Hall of Famer as of today. Okay? I'd put $1,000 on it. Keep it Sills on his A game, Quan. You're a jerk. I still think they got a solid defense. I think that's going to be probably by week 3 still something for the Eagles to have to contend with. I do. I think that's something you're going to still have to contend with. Bucks are a pretty good unit when healthy. They got good corners. They got great linebackers. Villaveda's in the middle in there. Okay? I think that could be an issue right there. That could be an issue. So, in that division, Kristen Wilf thinks that they're 12-5. I do not think they're a 12-5 team because the quarterback position with Kyle Trask and with Baker Mayfield. I see the Bucks maybe a 6-win team because the division's so shitty. I see 6 wins. I mean, right, Trask and Mayfield. Get this, though. Hey, Niner. What's crazy about the Bucks quarterback room? It's still better than anything you got in San Francisco. The Buccaneer quarterback room is better than what you got in San Francisco. Yeah, no, Worth said that he thinks it's a 12-win team. I think it's a 6-win team. But because the NFC, you just don't know. Yeah, you got the greatness of Sam Darnold, no play Trey, and chicken wing turdy. I don't know, man. I mean, dude, Buccaneers got a better quarterback room. So all in all, for your week 3 opponent, I think the Bucks are going to be okay. I don't think they're going to be completely horrible. It's transition. Todd Bowles probably won't survive. They're just going through a lot right now because they put in a lot to win those Super Bowls or to win that Super Bowl and win those division titles. So, Niner, damn, the Bucks. Hey, Niner, the Bucks have a better quarterback room. Okay? Quarterback room than you do. They'll probably win the division. No, I still think the Saints are going to win that division. Okay? It's 96 in Sarasota. Woof. Hey, no. James, you're missing it. Don't tell them it's 96 in Sarasota. Tell them what the humidity is. James, it's not the temperature in Florida. It's the humidity. Dude, training camp is going to start in like 27 days or some shit like that, right? Okay? That's a lie. No, it's the truth. No, it's the truth. Holy cow. Oh, my God. Wait till you guys hear this topic at the top of the hour. Real quick, let me throw this at you here. Okay? So, this gambling thing, players are getting suspended at a massive rate here. Here, let me ask you this. Remember Damar Hamlin? Almost died on the field. Actually died 3 times. Had to resuscitate him, right? Plays the game. Potentially CTE candidate down the line. And he can't bet $100 on his team to win and beat the Bengals. But he can put his life on the line. Really? Because why? Integrity of the game. So let me ask you that again. So if Damar Hamlin felt like betting and JM goes, not this gambling crap, I'm sorry, it is crap. You're right. It's a stupid topic. You're right. Why is the NFL making a big deal of it every day then? What are you talking about? JM, every day the NFL has conversation and stories on gambling and players being suspended. You're right. It's shit. It's crap. It's dumb. I don't give a shit if a guy bets $100 on him winning a game. What is that? Do you honestly believe that these players should be treated like children, that they don't know the difference between right and wrong? How insulting. To assume that a player would fix a game is insulting. Once again, you look at players and you look at what they do and you think they're inferior to you and you think you're smarter than them because you think athletes are dumb and don't know better. Who gives you that autonomy to think that you're smarter than me? If a guy gambles on the game, arrest him, prosecute him, charge him. How does that affect other guys who want to just be part of what Supreme Court said that is legal? You're calling all of us dumb. You're stereotyping. I thought some of you in here were big anti-stereotyping people. So athletes, in your opinion, don't know the difference between right and wrong? What makes you any different? I'd like to put that same kind of mentality that you have and you put on players, on you. Do you show up drunk when you're writing a column sometimes? Do you write a column drunk? Have you ever done anything that was inappropriate sexually? Well, you get to ask us those questions. I'd like to know the people that are covering us. Or how about that dirtbag owner in Indianapolis? Open pill bottles, prescription cards, $35,000 in his passenger seat. I don't know. If that was a player, he'd have been suspended for a year. And one more time about that. So I get to kick the shit out of my wife and get 4 games. But if I bet on a national lacrosse game, $100, I'm suspended for the year? And then you assume because, well, you may throw games. Listen to the egomaniac media guys like Colin Cowherd. Oh, you can't gamble. Why? Why? Integrity? We talked about integrity. When you have Deshaun Watson in your league, you've lost all autonomy with integrity. When you put Adrian Peterson back on a field after he beats his kid to a bloody pulp, you lose integrity. You do not have the latitude to use the word integrity or protecting the shield. Kaepernick ever get a job? Or did you just bullshit people and run his career light out They ran his pilot light out. You understand that, right? Kept it going, kept the story going, and they ran his pilot light on. And we're never going to put him on a team. Never. Yeah, we believe in social justice. Did they ever give him a job? No. No, I would always question, did he ever want one? Okay? I would always question, did he really want one? Because he makes a ton of money in the race, okay, in the race business. So he makes a ton of money now. He makes a killing right now being a martyr. There's nothing wrong with that. Because the league is the one that, they're the one that stoked the fire in this. So you want to stoke the fire? He should benefit. I've never had a problem with that. I mean, they started it. And so he should benefit from it. But, I mean, the whole football thing between the both of them, I don't think any one of them wanted a job. Okay? Yeah, he makes more money being an activist than he ever would being a quarterback in the NFL today. Okay? I mean, and they ran his pilot light out, like I said. Never going to give that guy a job. They were just going to tell you what you wanted to hear, like I tell you all the time. Always look at the league's actions, not what the league says, because what the league tells you is not true 90% of the time. They will never tell you the truth. Okay? They'll always let you know. They'll always tell you what you need to hear. Or no, what will make you feel better about yourselves. Because that's what conservative owners do. Just tell them. Just keep telling them. Okay? They just keep faking it. James goes, Cap was blackballed. So? That's how the league looked at it. James, so? He was blackballed, and yet they still used him. Dumb topic. Okay? But they are worried about the integrity of the league with gambling. All right, let's move on, because I'm sick of it too, and I agree with you, Quan. Stupid. Hour number 2. Hey, I got a McNabb topic. And disrespect for Jalen Hurts. It continues. It's big. Okay? Thought Sheffield was awesome. Appreciate him coming aboard. Love that he loves Bryce Harper. Hour number 2. Hit the like button. Keep it here on the National Football Show.
Do you stream on a Roku, Fire Stick, Google TV, or Apple TV? Now you can watch 6ABC 24/7 with the 6ABC Philadelphia streaming app.
For the big story on Action News,
Search 6ABC Philadelphia and start streaming today.
Go to get your game on. Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the stakes and the stakes. Go to get your parlay on. Go to get your party on. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean. Visit theoceanac.com to plan your visit.
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Go passionately. Go fearlessly. Go confidently.
Go Birds!
Go confidently towards your goals with First Trust, Philly's hometown bank for nearly 90 years, and the official bank of the Philadelphia Eagles. We're focused on getting you over the goal line. So go with conviction, go with trust,
Go Birds!
and go forward with us by your side. First Trust Bank, the official bank of Philadelphia Dreams. Oh, and go Birds.
All right, did you know I was the mommy slam dunk champion?
Really?
Yes, really, don't sound so surprised.
Let's see it.
Oh, you're ready. All right, here we go. Let's hear the crowd. So go to right, go to left, fake them out. Mama, go up, mama!
She did it.
Again?
You can't avoid gravity, but United Healthcare can help you avoid financial surprises by helping you compare costs and doctor quality ratings. United Healthcare.
Uh-huh.
EAGLES, Eagles.
Big Sills Hour number 2. Dude, man, I've had a pretty big week in conversation. Did I save my ice? I didn't. So Ice Cube is battling the NBA. Sheffield can't get into the Hall of Fame for whatever reason. Okay? Oh, by the way, that Eric Williams, I can't tell you how many Hall of Famers and Hall of Fame writers didn't realize that Eric Williams had not been debated. Lane Johnson's not going to the Pro Football Hall of Fame until you debate Eric Williams. Okay? He's not more accomplished than Eric Williams. And quite frankly, Eric Williams versus Joe Thomas, seriously, it's a non-starter for me. Joe Thomas being on some of the shittiest teams in the history of the National Football League, I get it. Should that play a fact in how he is perceived as a Hall of Fame type player? Kind of like Tony Baselli. Not really, and I get it, and I understand what you guys are saying. Okay? But think about it. Oh, by the way, we had George Foreman on this week too. Holy cow. So we've had Foreman and Sheffield on this week. And we had Ice Cube on. We're probably going to get him on again too, because he's on this tour. Barb goes, "Oh my God, I thought it was obvious." Eric Williams has won 3 Super Bowls and has got as many Pro Bowls as Lane Johnson does. Where do you feel that he's got more of a heads up and he's above him? He was one of the more dominant offensive right tackles in the history of the game. How could you put Lane in and not him? He's more accomplished. He's been on better teams. He's been on more consistent teams. Twiz goes, "Twiz, so you truly believe that Lane is more accomplished? Where? 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 Eric Williams hasn't even been debated. He's got just as many Pro Bowls, played on arguably the greatest O-line in the history of the NFL, according to some, and he's got 3 Super Bowl rings. Lane's got 1 Super Bowl, 1 loss, 4 Pro Bowls. What are we talking about here? You got to go in accomplishments, don't you? Let's be objective. I am being objective. What are you talking? Are you under the impression that Eric Williams wasn't good? And the best right tackle in the game during his time? You would be mistaken. You would absolutely be mistaken. Okay? You'd be mistaken. And by the way, maybe what I should do is do this. I think both of them are Hall of Famers. I do. I think both of them. I am stunned that Eric Williams is not in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, nor has he been discussed. I think both those players, if it were me, I would have put both of them in on first ballots. But for some reason, and it's what I've been telling you, voters don't look at the right tackle position like they do the left tackle position. The only place that you guys put more of a value on the right tackle position is in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I'm going to make another point to it, too, here in a minute when it comes to Jalen Hurts. Okay? Yale goes, he ran into some problems with the law. So did Lawrence Taylor. He got in on first ballot. Eric Williams obviously wouldn't be a first ballot. I understand your point completely. You can't debate Lane if you haven't debated Lane first. It makes perfect sense. Both are Hall of Fame talents. But there's a pecking order. Every Hall of Fame voter that comes on here tells you that there's a pecking order. What are they? They're talking about Willie Anderson, an offensive tackle. No disrespect to Jason Cole yesterday. And I love Jason, but I texted him after the show. Man, I don't know. You think that guy's a Hall of Fame player? Whew. I don't know. Really? Willie Anderson, the offensive lineman, you think he's a Hall of Fame player? Shit, man. How about this? Hey, Yale, look this one up. Watch this. That guy, my friend who played offensive line for the Rams, Dennis Harrah. Dennis Harrah's like an 8-time Pro Bowler. Every year he was in the offensive line with the Rams, they were either 1 or 2 in rushing in the NFL. He's never been debated. How do you not put Dennis Harrah in? Here, let me double check that on how many Pro Bowls. He's a dear friend of mine. He's a guy from the U. Obviously, I'm very close with him. But let me double check how many Pro Bowls. Dennis Harrah. And get this, you guys probably have never heard of him. Dennis Harrah. You guys probably have never heard of him. Let me see how many Pro Bowls he has. Rams, that's right. He's never been debated. Never been debated. 6-time Pro Bowler. Was on the Rams' 40th anniversary team. He's a 6-time Pro Bowler. He's got more Pro Bowls than Lane. He's got as many Pro Bowls as Kelsey does. They've never debated him. Never debated him. Arguably, I'm one of the great. Played next to Jackie Slater. Okay, here's my point again. Dude, there's a long list of guys. And for people that go, well, Lane, dude, do I think Lane Johnson's a Hall of Fame? Like, look, being on a panel who's asked to put 25 names down and then narrow it down to 15 and then 5. When they ask me what 5 I would pick, if Lane's name was in the conversation, would I put his name there? There's no question I would not put his name there. Do I think Lane Johnson's a better offensive tackle than Joe Thomas? I do. I mean, the way I watch Lane, I think Lane could play every single. Would this be a fair thing? Don't you think Lane Johnson could play every position on the offensive line? And play it effectively and play it great. I think he could play right guard as an all-pro. I think he could play center. I don't know if he could play center as an all-pro, but he's awful athletic. He could clearly play left guard, and he could clearly play left tackle. I don't believe that there's an offensive line position on that line that he couldn't play at an all-pro level. That's how good I think he is. Okay? Yeah, but Maniac, you couldn't move Jason Peters to center. You couldn't move him to center. He couldn't play that position. Jason Peters could not play center. So when I look at Lane and someone goes, Sills, you think, dude, well, I actually had to look up if Eric Williams was in the Hall of Fame or not, and I thought he was in. I didn't realize he wasn't. And then when I found out he's never been debated. Funny, the Cowboy people reached out to me. He's never been debated. Cowboy PR guy sent me, he goes, because they watch the show too. By the way, just so you know, the Cowboys watch the show. As expected. Eric Williams has never been debated. But you think Lane? Look, I told you yesterday I probably would take Lane over Eric. Okay, but they're both Hall of Fame tackles. Latin, Furno, Eric Williams, the right tackle also. The left tackle on the Cowboys was Martune. So, again, Larry Allen got in, but no Williams. Yeah, and to you guys corrected me. I didn't realize that Larry Allen was on the back end of those other two when he got to Dallas. Hey, you want to hear something crazy about both Jordan Mailata and Larry Allen? Larry Allen was drafted in the 12th round when they had 12 rounds at a Humboldt State University, and Jordan Mailata was drafted in the last round, the 7th round. You talk about two guys who turned out to be Mailata yet to be determined how great he's going to be. I think he's an all-pro type potential player. Larry Allen was drafted in the 12th round. And that guy is the best guard lineman I've seen in the last 20 years. 700-pound back. Hey, Tone, Yale, anybody. Was that the game that Larry Allen, when Aikman threw a pick, and he ran like 85 yards down the field, and he caught a guy, a linebacker or a corner or somebody? Was it that on a Monday night game against the Eagles that he did that to? He must have ran 80 yards down the field, and he caught that guy down there before he got into the end zone. It was one of the greatest plays I've ever seen in my life from a lineman that weighed 350 pounds. I've never seen anything like that. I mean, the guy ran a 4.8, bench 705, and was just an earth mover. I mean, that's one of the greatest football plays I've ever seen in my life, is what he did. When Larry Allen caught that guy, it was against the Saints, okay? Hey, if you've never seen that play, you guys got to YouTube it. This guy's 350 pounds. And he runs down the field and catches this guy on an Aikman pick. Craziest thing. Allen was taken in the second round. I thought he was a late round guy. I didn't know he was a second rounder. My mistake. I just watched it. My God, he was hucking his ass. Hey, dude, one of the greatest plays you've ever seen. Okay. Can we have some fun here today on this Friday? Somebody sent this to me. How many people think Donovan McNabb was a better player than Dak Prescott? Or do you think Dak's a better player than McNabb? If you had to pick a quarterback, who would you take? I got a ton of stats here. Or are they the same guy? McNabb by a hair? McNabb better. Joey says it's a stupid question. Okay, let's find out if it's a stupid question. So McNabb, 94 starts. Dak Prescott, 97 starts. Records. McNabb, 60 wins, 28 losses. Dak Prescott, 61 wins, 36 losses. Comparable. Completion percentage. I love what Tone does usually. During this time in the league, McNabb had a 58.4 completion percentage. Dak has a 66.6. He's clearly above the average. I would think these guys are both probably above the average during their respective eras. But McNabb is not a 60% completion percentage. So I would have to take a look at what Tone does during McNabb's era and know exactly what the completion percentage was. And I would say this, he's probably above it. Because during the Marino time, which wasn't that far behind McNabb, it was 54. So 58 sounds like he was probably league average. Okay? Passing yards per game. McNabb, 206.7. Dak Prescott, 257.1. Passing touchdowns. McNabb, 134. Dak Prescott, 166. Interceptions. McNabb, 66. Dak, 65. Rushing attempts. 415 for McNabb, 352 for Dak. Rushing yards. 25-14 for McNabb, 16-42 for Prescott. Rushing touchdowns. 21 for McNabb, 26 for Dak Prescott. So, Dak's won more games. Now, that's not fair because he's played in four more, so I'm not going to go with that one. Completion percentage, Prescott wins it. Passing yards, 24,943. McNabb, 19,453. Dak wins that. Yards per game, 257.1 to 206 with McNabb. Dak wins that. Passing touchdowns, 166 to 134. Dak wins that. INT, more games through less picks through 94 games. Prescott wins that. McNabb, more rushing attempts. I'm kind of shocked at that one. He wins that. Rushing yards. Actually shocked at this one too. McNabb's got more rushing yards through 94 games. 25-14. Rushing TDs. Dak wins that. I don't know. Dak Prescott pretty much dominates every single statistic here when you're talking about a player who plays in the NFL, and it's kind of not close. League-wide, 99, 57.1. 2000 was 58.2. 2001 was 59. 2002 was 59.6. He was below league average every year he played almost. 58.8, 59.8, 59.5. Yeah, he was under league average, McNabb. So Dak is a more refined quarterback than McNabb. Funny how we look at Prescott, and when you line these up, Prescott's had a better career than Donovan McNabb. And I would say in a shittier organization. They didn't have the coaching. You think Dak's had good coaching? From who? Who do you think coached him? Who was a great coach for Dak? I mean, here it is. Or are they the same guy? Don't get mad because I'm pointing out something to you that you never thought of. Okay. Damn. So Dak's a better quarterback than Donovan McNabb, and you guys call this guy shitty? All right. What do you think of McNabb then? Telling half the story. Here, let's take a look at that. Okay, let's take a look at that. McNabb stats. See people talking about, do people want to bring up the playoffs? You really want to go there? Oh, we could go there. You really want to go to the playoffs? Donovan McNabb's playoff stats.
According to StatMuse, Donovan McNabb had a passer rating of 80.0 with 3,752 yards, 24 touchdowns, and 17 interceptions.
Donovan McNabb playoff stats. .7 completion percentage. 24 touchdowns, 17 picks, 230 yards a game. I mean, okay. Dak Prescott has 2 Pro Bowls by 30. McNabb has 5 and was second in the MVP. Dude, I'm not talking about, okay. I'm just going by what I'm, holy cow. Okay. Well, Carson, well, wait a minute now. You guys are trying to tell me that Jalen Hurts has a better start to his career than what Carson Wentz has. I mean, I just try to make this as fair as I possibly can. Dak Prescott has better statistics for his career than what McNabb has for the first 94 games. And to be fair, Dak has 97 games, but it's really not close. And yet you're trying to tell me McNabb was a better quarterback? Has Dak ever been to the playoffs? I think he got off the bus a few times, but I really don't remember him being in it. McNabb carried the Eagles. You don't think Dak's carrying the Cowboys? Hey, there's no doubt, man, his postseason sucks. But I think that's a product more of the organization than Prescott. Too many mouths in the room. One loss? Since you ask, Lawrence wants to know one loss. Okay. McNabb won 60 games and lost 28. Prescott won 61 games and lost 36. So, Dak Prescott's Donovan McNabb. Dak is the Kirk Cousins of the NFC East. Come on, Sileo. Talk about the wins. I just did. McNabb, 60 wins, 28 losses for Donovan McNabb. Dak Prescott, 61 wins, 36 losses for the Cowboys. I just did. There's the wins. No, James. It's not irrelevant because you guys look at Dak Prescott as being horseshit. Well, he's having the same career that Donovan McNabb had. Yeah. He's throwing for 25,000 yards. To McNabb's 20. 19, 4, still 20, about 20. Dak shit? Damn. So you guys talk shit on Donovan McNabb. Okay. Fair enough. Holy cow. Look at people getting, hey, man, little upset. It's all right. It's all right. Calm down. Calm down. Calm down. Calm down. Let's see what Tone's probably, this is going to be going. I never liked that. Now that he knows he's close to Dak, I never liked him. I love it. Way to go, Tone. What a Philly. Dude, you and Xander are both Philly guys through and through. I love it. I absolutely love it. Holy shit, man. You guys are the best. All right. So at the end of the day, I'm going to do something here that I really don't like to do. I promise you I never liked the guy back when I was a kid. Hey, I'm going to do something here that I never do. You ready? I'm going to go McNabb and Dak are the same guy. You know. Man, McNabb and Dak, they're the same guy. Okay? Same guy. Yeah. As someone wanted me to point out the one-loss record, so I did. It's pretty much the same. Wow, McNabb and Dak, arm in arm. Tone's 8-8. Wow. Tone's like, hey, man, this guy throws dirt worms. Okay? Jimmy Rollins would have done better throwing the football than McNabb would have. I mean, according to Tone, McNabb threw more grounders than what Jimmy Rollins did. Oh, man. Howard's trying to dig out grounders from McNabb. Oh, man. Oh, here my dad ripped McNabb. He hates the guy. Okay. Let's move on to another topic. Oh, man. Sounds like you're not a fan of Donovan McNabb stills. Mob? By the way, Mob Deep, that's a great handle. Okay. Hey, Mob Deep, better be careful because if Big Sil says this rhyme might be about you next. How you doing? Hey, Mob Deep. Hey, the next rhyme I write might be about you. Well, you don't think I don't know? You better ask somebody. Right? Tell me I'm right. You might get touched. Shit, that's all I listen to. Okay, wait a minute. I got to get this up here. Now here's the disrespect. Not by me. Not by me. But here's the disrespect on Jalen Hurts coming up. All right? And you want to know what I think it's bullshit and lame. Okay? I think it's bullshit and lame how they came up with this. NFL. So I tell you what, they did give some cool love to a couple guys here. But let me show you something here. So this just came out. NFL.com. NFL.com came out with the best 25 and under football players. They got to be, hey, guys at NFL.com. Guys at NFL.com, hi. Hi. Tone, did we do that the other day? Did we do that the other day? 25 and under? Hello, everybody. You're welcome. Didn't we do that the other day, Tone? Well, the NFL.com came out with it, but now they got a little asterisk. And guess who they put the asterisk on? You figure it out when I read it here. So here's the top 25 and under. According to NFL.com, not Big Sills. Creed Humphrey, center. Love the kid. Great player, Kansas City. Elijah Vera Tucker, offensive guard, Jets. Trey Smith, Kansas City, OG. OTs, Andrew Thomas, Giants. Tristan Wirfs, OT, Giant, or Buccaneers. CD Lamb. Oh, I forgot to add Devontae into this. CD Lamb. Wide receiver. Actually, they got flex receiver. Pat Ferrymuth, Steelers, tight end. Jamar Chase, wide receiver. Justin Jefferson, obviously. Breece Hall, running back. Jonathan Taylor, running back. And the quarterback, 25 and under, Trevor Lawrence. Oh! What? Trevor Lawrence? Trevor Lawrence. But you know what they did? They put a little asterisk because, hey, by the way, they came out with the team right now on June 30th. Jalen Hurts' birthday is August 7th. So what they did was he's not available to be on this consideration for this, and he's not eligible for this team. So that's why we didn't consider him. You made the freaking list up today. He's 24 right now. So what? So I mean, you came up. They actually put the asterisk in it. He's 24. So you came up with some bullshit thing. You came up, get this, they even added a flex wide receiver so they get CD on it. They hate you. They hate you. Jalen Hurts is not eligible because he'll be 25 in a month and a half. Holy shit. Just so they could put Trevor Lawrence on the list. I would have said 25 and under. Because most of those guys are. That's right, Tone. Anything to take a shit on not only Philly, but Hurts. You know why they don't see Jalen Hurts as a star? That's NFL.com. That's not CBS dummies or ESPN nobodies. That's the league's website. I think that's a bigger shit on than anything I've seen on Jalen Hurts in a long time. You came up with some bullshit reason to undermine the guy and what he could become when it comes to being a face of the league. They'd rather promote Trevor Lawrence more than Jalen Hurts. Screw that. I would have, dude, they want to promote Trevor Lawrence. That's NFL.com. The league and the public relations and the communications department runs that. That's the league doing that. That's not just a website. Here's Tone. That might be the most intentional form of disrespect I've ever seen. Absolutely. I can't believe nobody in Philly is making more of that. It's the league saying it. This is not Pete Prisco at CBS Sports. This is not whoever they have left at ESPN from the NFL side making comments. This is the NFL and who they see as people they want to promote in this league. And just to show you again, they came up with a flex wide receiver position so they could put a cowboy on there. Hey, Tone, tell me I'm wrong when I say that this is blatant slap in the face shit. The league thought it was more important to promote Trevor Lawrence and Jalen Hurts, finish second in the MVP. By the way, I'm on your side here with this. I would never put Trevor Lawrence up there ahead of Jalen. I would have changed that thing. So you came up with a rule. Well, he's going to be 25 in a month and a half, so he's not eligible. Hey, thanks for the asterisk. It's like you weren't smart enough to figure that one out. See, it's more so that they put that on there. Go to the website, NFL.com, and take a look at that. Go take a look at what they did and how they wrote it. Hey, Tone, go to NFL.com and see how they worded that with Trevor Lawrence and see how they put underneath it that little asterisk thing on Jalen. I'm like, what? We're not smart enough to figure that out, that he could have been like we wouldn't have figured that out. Okay, August 7th, but they pointed it out for a reason. He's still 24. And for the record, how old is, let me get this right. Let me see something here too. Hold on here. Lamar Jackson. Okay, he's 26. Okay. Go to the website, NFL.com, and look. It's priceless. If I get caught underage drinking at 20, will the cops give me a break despite my birthday being a week later? Yeah, I'm still 20. Wow, man. What an absolute shitbag thing that was. So I saw this and I posted it on my Twitter page. I'm like, holy cow, man. He's the only guy with an asterisk that they had to tell you why he wasn't qualified to be on this NFL list. And like I said, I wouldn't have made probably that big a deal of it if CBS had put it on there because they're just Dallas Cowboy honks. But the league did this. This is the league on who they think they can promote more. They think they get a better chance of promoting Trevor Lawrence more than Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts plays in Philly. Trevor plays with a team that the league is not even sure they're going to keep in Jacksonville. Is it because he's white? Hey, I hate going there, but I mean, I think you got to go anywhere with this. Is it because he's white? What else? What else would it be? Hey, I don't see this one. Well, Rashawn Slater is going to be 27 here at this date, so he's not eligible. I didn't see any asterisks anywhere else. I just saw it at the quarterback position. Jalen's not eligible for this because in 2 years or 2 months, whatever, a month and a half, he'll be 25. So what? You don't want to promote a guy who finished second in the MVP and has the top team in the NFC. You don't want to promote that guy. You'd rather promote a guy who, like I said, you're not sure you want the team still in Florida, let alone in the league. And you'd rather promote him than Jalen Hurts. The league would rather promote Jalen Hurts. Trevor Lawrence. How other way would you look at that? It's a Philly thing, not a race day. Okay, Twiz. I'm with you there. I could probably go there too. I could go there, okay. It's a Philly thing. Maybe what they did was they actually knew that I would go crazy on that because they know how important that .com is on that NFL. Because, again, that's not analysts doing that. That's NFL communications doing that. You get that, right? Have you ever seen the NFL Network bash any owner or any team? No. Why? All 32 owners own it. All 32 owners own NFL.com. Anything with NFL on it, when it comes to communications, red zone, anything, all owners, they share that. NFL.com, Jeffrey Lurie owns a percentage of that. Yeah, hey, right, Barb, like a surfer dude, you know. Jalen's got a little kind of tough, rough Philly look to him. You're not going to promote a guy who looks like Rocky. You're going to promote a guy. What's that movie, man? Who's the guy, Sunshine? What was that? The Titans. Right? Sunshine. Remember the Titans, right? This guy's like Sunshine. Let's promote Sunshine. We can't promote Jalen, man. You would think that in a market like Philadelphia, man, you'd want to promote that. Because then you get because quite frankly, Washington and Dallas, that rivalry's dead. There's nothing to that thing. It's Philly and Dallas, man. Once again, like it should be. It's not even really Philly and New York anymore. Jalen's a very handsome man. You must be very comfortable in your own skin there. Wow. Hey, blonde hair, blue eyes, this is all you need. I hate to agree with Tone. I'd rather promote the white guy than... Here, I'll edit myself. That's so shitty. It wasn't that it was that you went out of your way to make sure that you made an excuse why you didn't want to promote him. That's my ass with it. And again, I keep hammering this. That's the league's view on Jalen Hurts. So when you guys tell me and ask the question, you think Jalen Hurts could be the face of the league? Never in a billion years will the NFL ever promote him on being the face of the league. Quite frankly, he's not as exciting as Vic. He's just not Vic. Vic is 10 times more exciting than Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts will be a better player at the end of it. But he's just not exciting. And he doesn't play on a team that generates a lot of excitement outside of Philly. By the way, you guys, like I said to you before, don't worry about that shit. Okay? It's just fuel for the fire. It's just fuel for the fire here. I would have respected it more if they put the asterisk. They exposed themselves when they didn't have to. Tone, that is exactly my point. They didn't put that on any other player. Some of you will go like this. Some of you will go, how's that a big deal? It's how they look at players and who they're going to promote in the league. because that's a league communication to its fans. The NFL put that out. The NFL doesn't look at Jalen as, you know what they look at him as? Wow, what a really great story. What a really great player. But he's nobody we're going to promote. Tone's getting the game here. It's like someone saying no disrespect, because you already know once you say no disrespect, it's already a backhanded slap coming. It's a backhanded slap. Hey, no disrespect. Bang. But you ain't it. Wow. How could you not have an ass over that? The league does not look at your guy in the same breath as Trevor Lawrence or any of these other guys. They never will. Ever. They're never going to look at Jalen Hurts that way. He'll never be the face of the league. He has no chance if he wins 2 Super Bowls on being the face of the league. I mean, I don't know if you need any more than that. Data goes, not mad at all. NFL has been doing a good job so far. Interesting. Let's see. The league loves shootouts. That's probably it, Speed. Speed, that's probably it. But wasn't Super Bowl 58 awful good? I mean, dude, that was one of the better Super Bowls I've watched in the last 10 years. Okay? I'm not hating on shit. What the hell are you talking? See, look at I'm awake. He says I'm hating when the league did this because I'm pointing it out? How am I hating? I completely think it's a shit on. How am I hating on him? Where did you get that? I mean, if it landed here, let me hook you up here, dog. Just so in case you missed it because of whatever, you got shit in your ears. I think this is an absolutely slap in the face of Jalen Hurts. Just in case you need to have it plainer, I think they gave him a backhanded slap, and I think they gave him a backhanded slap behind the neck. Here, is that good enough for you? Let me take a time out. Hit the like button. Keep it here on the National Football Show.
Heading down the shore, have a ball once more.
Here, imaginations run wild and time stands still. Because here, you can find the best of the Jersey Shore, all on one 5-mile island. So leave the old you behind and get lost in the woods.
Wild, wild, wild wood days.
and save in southeastern PA and Delaware with Colony Pools this football season, and let the experts close your pool with a custom Merlin safety cover in green for the birds. And if you join our Winter Watch team, we'll give you another 20% off, and Colony Pools will handle it all. Keep your tiles on your pool, not in your pool. Fly with Colony right now, Birds fans. Visit flywithcolony.com.
Hi everybody, my name's Jason Lombardi. I'm an inspector at DryTech. At DryTech we offer 3 major services, the first one being basement waterproofing. The second service we offer is foundation and structural repairs. And then the third service that we offer is mold remediation. If you feel you are having a waterproofing issue, give DryTech a call or check us out online.
EAGLES, Eagles.
Big Sales National Football Show. Appreciate it. Talking to some that root for the team that's the most disrespected team in the National Football League. Philadelphia Eagles, baby. Should wear that as a merit badge, actually. The league hates promoting you, man. Hey, I don't know if Tone was producing. Remember what remember what they did? Final game of the regular season last year and how Fox promoted the Washington Cowboy game. Cowboys fighting for the NFC East and fighting for home field advantage. I was like this. Really? Fighting. Dude, it was in the hands of the Eagles. No matter what they did in that game. No matter what they did in that game. If the Eagles took care of business, it had no bearing. But Fox promoted the Cowboys like that Washington game was going to determine the NFC East. Technically, I guess. Technically, sure. Holy shit. Man, hey, you know, it's funny. The more you cover them and the more you talk about how the perception is of the media when it comes to Philadelphia, okay? JH goes, you hear about ESPN kicking guys to the curb. Yeah, you know what, JH? I went to school with Susie Colbert, and she was there at Miami when I was down there. And I think she's been there like 25 years or something like that. She's been at ESPN. They fired a shitload of people, and yet they kept Stephen A. Smith, who's brought nothing to the network. ESPN has lost 14 million viewers over the last 7 years. And over the last 10 years, they've lost 20 million. I don't know how anybody in their right mind thinks that guy has brought anything to the network. He's brought nothing. Every radio show he's ever done has sucked and bombed. That's why they got rid of Bomani Jones. Bomani Jones was given more opportunities to do more national radio shows, and every one of them failed. Why don't you give other minority guys opportunities to get up there? And plus, the politics of ESPN caught up with them. And that's why Bob Iger was brought back with Disney. And that's why the bloodletting is going to go until January. And they're blowing out all kinds of hosts because why? They overpaid for their properties. Do you think the NBA is really given a return of investment? Nobody wants to see people talking about taking knees or Black Lives Matter. No one wants to see that. And I'm not saying that that's not important, but not in a basketball game. It's not important to me. I don't give a shit about your politics on a basketball court. And when you're trying to jam it down people's throats who to vote for, America's going to tune it off. And that's what they did. America has tuned off ESPN. Because every time they tune it, you know, sometimes I have to watch the ESPN shows before, like NBA. I got to do it with the volume down because I don't want to be told by Jalen Rose who to vote for or who he doesn't like or who he's race baiting on. I don't want to hear it. I just want you to tell me, can the Sixers beat the Celtics? But people, again, it's an ego thing. Because I used to think my political beliefs mattered. My wife told me, Sills, people barely come to your show as it is for sports takes, let alone your political views, which they don't care. They don't come here for that. And she's right. I'm telling you how I look at the ESPN deal now. Okay? It has nothing to do with politics? Really? Whatever, JH. Totally to do with politics. All those shows during COVID and all those shows during the Trump administration was the greatest example of why you don't watch a network that's telling you, and it's a one-sided network. ESPN was one-sided. And I'm not telling you who to vote for here. I'm telling you, I just wanted sports. And people tuned it off. I haven't watched CNN. You know the new, hey, Tone, you know the news station that I actually watched today because I can't stand Fox anymore. I watch C-SPAN because at least they have a Democrat line and a Republican line. And at least there's kind of some dialogue left. I like dialogue. I like debating. I don't like castrating. And I don't like systematically picking and choosing because some guy's telling me on a Jalen Rose talking to me about politics is the most asinine thing. It's as asinine as me doing it. Okay? I would never tell you who to vote for, nor would I. Hey, how about this one? Here's something even better for you. I would never tell you who to vote for, and I would never judge you by who you voted for. Try that one out. You think that applies to your life today? Highly doubtful. Most people judge people by who they vote for today, which is so, it used to be a point. Like, let me ask you this. When you go to Lincoln Financial and you're sitting in the stands, is the first thing you ask when you sit down at your chair and you get ready to watch the Eagles take on the Giants, hey, are you Republican or Democrat? Do you say that? Who'd you vote for? Or do you just sit down? It's the last place in the world where you could get 70,000 people together and that doesn't happen. Am I right? Lincoln Financial and stadiums and arenas around the country are the only places that you don't ask. Shit, man, when someone goes to eat dinner, people get accosted by left-wing or right-wing people. I'm talking about both shitty sides. We've lost our space. It's dumb. ESPN's paying a price for that. They forgot they're a network. Entertainment sports network. Not entertainment political network. Why do you think CNN has lost? They get beat by the Food Channel. The Food Channel. Honestly, that's a fact. They get beaten by the Food Channel. Okay? Guys barbecuing beats them. Because it's so one-sided. Dude, the days when I was a kid growing up and Walter Cronkite was in the business, and he said, for more on this story, go to your local Chronicle, because the local Chronicle will give you op-eds. He didn't want to do it. That's why he was one of the most trusted and watched guys in the history of television and news broadcasting. Rather changed all that shit. Dude, honest to God, I stay away from all that now. I don't care. Because they're all pigs. They're all, man. Me personally, I think it's so cringe when I see people with bumper stickers that reveals who they voted for. Yeah, you're a moving target when you do that. Bumper stickers to reveal who they voted for. Politics have become a tribal. People are repping their candidates like their favorite sports team. It's totally weird to me too, Tone. Why in the world would you put a bumper sticker that you voted for Trump knowing full well that you're going to get a backlash for that, having you put that on there? You're looking to get your ass kicked. And vice versa when you do it on a Biden like that. You're looking for trouble. Why would you bring trouble into your life? And then like when Major League Baseball and some of these other leagues, the Big Ten, look at the big, I told you guys this. COVID was the greatest thing on the planet for the SEC. Greatest thing ever happened, business-wise. Look, I know folks got sick. I know folks died. I'm not saying, I'm talking business-wise because they kept their business going. They were not going to change because of whatever study came out, which would halt the Big Ten's play. Kids don't play there now. By the way, just to be fair on the Big Ten, if you take Ohio State and Michigan out of that conference, you don't really have shit. Penn State's probably the next best team, but the rest of them are all hamburger. I miss the days when my parents would vote, come home, and that was the end of it. Pfft. Simpler lives, Tone. Simpler lives. You know, now people got to hide their religion, their sexuality. I know, man. I don't know when that became so public that you have to know who you're having sex with. And people can't identify who a chick is today. Or I got to watch Dodgers disrespect my religion. Okay? I don't know where that comes from. And get this. You know what's really crazy? Is this weekend is a weekend where simpler times, right, Tone? 4th of July. All the cool things that go on with family. Dude, my family, we never argued over politics. We argued over other things. Family matters. Weddings. Divorces. How to raise your kid. Whether my aunt should work or not. We didn't fight over that stuff. We created our own world. That's why I miss those days. Because we had our own world. We didn't talk shit like that at the table. We talked about my Uncle Mike. We talked about my dad. Or we talked about my aunt, my Uncle Richard. Talked about the Bacuzos versus the Rodas and everyone else. Didn't talk about any of that. So it made life so simple, man. And so much better. I yearn for those days. I do. When I can talk to you just about the Eagles. Not have to worry about whether or not affirmative action was good or bad on what happened the other day. So let me ask you this. You think that deal that the Supreme Court just passed, you think that helps black coaches get jobs in college football? Or hurts it? At my family, get together, we talk shit about each other. We don't get, hey, that's right. Hey, Tone, get me too. Tone, we talk shit about each other. Hey, by the way, my aunt would be crying usually at the end of 4th of July. And it wasn't over who the president of the United States was. Okay? My aunt would be crying, or someone always left my grandfather's house crying. And it was usually my aunt and my grandmother. Okay? Happy holiday. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Right? Yeah, so like you really think and in affirmative action, you really think that's going to help black coaches get jobs in college football? So now the black candidates get to go back to coaching Eagle Creek University or Slippery Rock University or North Dakota State or Wolverine State or some shit like that, right? Yeah, they got a really good shot now coaching Mississippi State. Yeah. Shit, Auburn wouldn't even hire Dion. They went and got a guy who was passing his credit card around and chasing down whores. I mean, dude, SEC, baby. Swider King. Hour number 3 coming up. Hit the like button. Keep it here on the National Football Show.
Do you stream on a Roku, Fire Stick, Google TV, or Apple TV? Now you can watch 6ABC 24/7 with the 6ABC Philadelphia streaming app.
And the big story on Action News.
Search 6ABC Philadelphia and start streaming today.
Go to get your game on. Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the steaks and the steaks. Go to get your parlay on. Go to get your party on. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean. Visit theoceanac.com to plan your visit.
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Go passionately. Go fearlessly. Go confidently.
Go Birds!
Go confidently towards your goals with First Trust, Philly's hometown bank for nearly 90 years, and the official bank of the Philadelphia Eagles. We're focused on getting you over the goal line. So go with conviction, go with trust,
Go Birds!
and go forward with us by your side. First Trust Bank, the official bank of Philadelphia dreams. Oh, and go Birds.
All right, did you know I was the mommy slam dunk champion?
Really?
Yes, really don't sound so surprised.
Let's see it.
Oh, you're ready. All right, here we go. Let's hear the crowd. So go to right, I go to left, fake 'em out. Mama go up, up, up.
She did it.
Again?
You can't avoid gravity, but United Healthcare can help you avoid financial surprises by helping you compare costs and doctor quality ratings. United Healthcare.
Uh-huh.
EAGLES, Eagles.
Are you really sold on the Cowboys? Hour 3, Power Hour. Big Sills, National Football Show. Please hit the like button. Are you really sold on the Cowboys? What makes 2023 different than any year in the last 24 years? Do we all agree? What has changed? And I'm not talking about the personnel on the field, because in the last 24 years, there's been one thing that's been consistent, is management. Tone and I were talking prior to going on the air, before we went on the first hour, and we were talking about the Sixers. And, you know, it's funny. I hear a lot of conversation today about James Harden. Whether James Harden stays or goes or is traded, or, God, what a nothing burger. But the Sixers get, what does it matter? Shit! You talk the same garbage for the last 10 years, Tone. What does it matter? What in the world makes you think any... I don't know how people bang their head against the wall like Fireman Ed every day and come up with the same bullshit, just different names, different years, different times. I just can't. I don't do shows like that. The 76ers are a laughing stock. It's a laughing stock. The Clippers are more entertaining. The Clippers are more entertaining. The Clippers are more entertaining. I'd rather watch a Clipper game than a Sixer game. Both teams never go to the finals. Both teams get hurt. Both teams underachieve. At least they got Kawhi Leonard, who's won championships in two different places. You know? At least there's a guy in the room that's been an MVP in the finals in two places. I don't know. It's more interesting. And here's the thing. You know what at least the one thing you say about Kawhi versus Joel Embiid? He tells you he's only playing 66 games a year. He tells it to you. He tells it to you. I'm only playing 66. I'm not playing 80 games. That ain't happening. He lets you know immediately. He let Greg Popovich know. I'm not playing 80 ball games. Because they don't mean shit to me. And yet you're going to pay him $250 million. Oh, you're going to pay me. And they do. That's the craziest thing. I'm not playing full schedule of ball games, but you're going to pay me full money. Oh, and they do it. Can you imagine Jalen Hurts going, hey, I'm going to play 12 games this year, but you're going to pay me $255 anyway. Eagles go like this. Hey, I'm using them 2 first-rounders to get a new dude. You imagine that? Man, they tell their fans and their owner and their community and their fan base to go F themselves every day. James Harden, Philly, Tobias Harris. I'd rather cover Villanova. And it's like the Cowboys. What makes the Dallas Cowboys so relevant? Think about that. What makes the Cowboys? And you know what I think, Eagle fans? I would say this to you. You probably have the better objective on what makes that team relevant when they don't have to win. You probably have a better understanding of this question than me. What makes them so relevant? Your quarterback got shit on today. They don't think anything of you at the NFL offices in Park Avenue. They proved it to you again. Not in so much a big way, but in a subtle way. But those subtle ways add up eventually to go, you got a complex after a while. What the hell's wrong here? America's team? I thought Americans like winners. America doesn't like people winning participation medals. The Dallas Cowboys are the king at winning the participation medal, not Super Bowls. They are notorious at winning participation medals and ribbons for the last 25 years. We reward in this country participation medals to the Cowboys and call them America's team. How'd that happen? I think it's a joke and a fraud. I mean, they have more participation medals than any team in NFL history. Tone calls them a fashion show. Man, look at those models, man. It's like you show up to a fashion show, you look at the chicks, and you leave. Actually, Tone's giving them too much credit. The Dallas Cowboys aren't a fashion show. It's like going to a stripper's place. It's like going to a strip club. The Dallas Cowboys are not a fashion show. The Dallas Cowboys are a strip club. Bad food, bad liquor, bad women. Good looking. America's team. But in 2023, hey, I've never seen a team win the offseason like the Cowboys too. Do you know that I actually heard people say today that the Cowboys have the 6th best roster in the NFL? I'm like, the 6th best roster in the NFL. No. You mean the Dallas Cowboys had the 6th most overrated roster in the NFL. I'm supposed to believe right now that the Dallas Cowboys are going to magically, for whatever reason, win a Super Bowl. I'll say it again. Cowboys aren't going to win a Super Bowl until they get a new owner. And they're not going to get a new owner. Maybe Steven changes the direction. Maybe he does. I like him a lot. You know, he's been on numerous times. Okay? Man, the Dallas Cowboys don't win because Jerry Jones is still trying to do one thing he can't do. He's trying to prove he was better than Jimmy, that he could build a team. And he's never built a championship quality team. They've never built a championship. You know, the closest team I think the Cowboys have built that was close to being a championship team was probably that team on the Des Bryant catch that they said was no catch. I thought it was a catch. When it went down to the 1 yard line, I thought they should have won that game and went on to the NFC title game. That was probably their best chance to get to another NFC title. I thought that was a catch, and I thought that team was pretty good. Okay, I did. I thought that team could have did some damage in the NFC title game, and maybe if they would have gotten to the Super Bowl, all right, maybe. Okay, but at the end of the day, Jerry's fighting something. And you know too, how does Jerry Jones get into the Hall of Fame before Jimmy? What did you do that was significant when it came to building a football team? You paid the checks? So Jerry Jones is in the Hall of Fame before Robert Kraft? How's that? Robert Kraft has been to numerous – look at the Super Bowls Robert Kraft has been to since he's owned the Patriots compared to Jerry. He actually got to a Super Bowl with Parcells coaching the team. He owned it then. So let me see. This guy's got like 9 AFC title rings and 6 Super Bowls. And Robert Kraft, the biggest winner in the Super Bowl era for an owner, is not in the Hall of Fame. But Jerry Jones is? That's kind of like that's a PR. That's a PR deal, or they rigged it. Look, I'm not saying 3 Super Bowls. They're under his watch. That's nothing to sneeze at. It's not. It's nothing to sneeze at. Yale goes that, yeah, Yale's right. Jerry has turned the entire league financially into one of the biggest, and if not the biggest, sports league in the world next to the Premier League. The NFL is the Premier League in America, in North American sports. No doubt about it. Do you know, you want to hear something crazy? And I've told you, some of you guys this in Yale, and some of you guys this, but it's funny. But every time they come up with those broadcast deals, Bob Iger was in the building prior to him retiring the first time with Disney, and they were sitting there negotiating the contract deals and the television broadcasting rights, and they were talking about the ABC, and Bob Iger stood up and said, "Hey, I've made every one of you guys a shitload of money." You know what Jerry said to him? "I don't see your name on that check. Since when do you write checks? That ain't your money. You didn't do shit here. Sit down. And he sat down. We're going to tell you what we want, and you'll pay it. Do you know other leagues have to negotiate a number? The NFL tells you what the number is. They tell you what the number, I've been told this. They tell you what the number is. This is what we're looking at. And if you don't like it, we'll go somewhere else and start the NFL Network up. The NFL Network is not there for broadcasting NFL follies and shit like that. It's there to keep the networks at bay. Because if you don't like it, they'll start putting more games on the NFL Network. Rich McKay told me this. The NFL Network was created for what? Keep the networks at bay. You think you're going to start giving us a price tag on what these broadcasting rights are? We'll start keeping all of our advertising every single game. We'll broadcast more games, and we'll come up with NFL Network 1, 2, 3, 4. And we'll start putting those games on our networks, keeping the revenue and all the advertising. Now they're involved in YouTube. Pretty soon the NFL is not going to need the networks. Why do you think the networks are airing XFL and USFL? They're looking for more content because the NFL is expanding its broadcasting. The NFL is now on YouTube, streaming. Now that they know they can stream, dude, they're on Amazon. That's not a network. They took a 40% hit last year in them shitty games. Do you guys know what? Did you see that Thursday night schedule? That ain't what it was a year ago. They have upgraded that. National Football League. Dude, Sunday Night Football is not going to be the number one broadcast. It's going to be Thursday Night Football on Amazon. Jeff Bezos looked at it and went, do you know the NFL for the first time had to give, what do they call those things, Tone? They had to give them makeups because they promised them a certain number and they didn't hit it. Imagine that, an NFL game and an NFL didn't hit the number they promised Amazon. So they had to give them makeups. NFL doesn't work in giving makeups on advertising dollars. So what'd they do? They kicked up that Thursday night schedule. And they took it away from Sunday night and Monday night. NFL, they don't play, man. Shit, dude. It's going to get to a point. How many people believe this? I think it gets to a point one day when the NFL has a Super Bowl on pay-per-view. Why wouldn't you? Pretty soon the NFL is going to start charging for the Super Bowl. It'll be a separate entity. And you can either get it through streaming or some other vehicle and how they're going to deliver it to you. Am I right? Can you see them going, hey, can you see the NFL putting the Super Bowl on pay-per-view? First year, dude, I never thought the NFL would ever put free games on Amazon. I never thought that. Dude, it's great for my business because I was telling my aunt this today. All the bloodletting that's going on at ESPN right now and all the people that are being fired, that should be a sign to you. Homie, what you're doing, you're losing viewers. And you're losing viewers to things like this and shows like this. And people like me. It's not just me. There's thousands of me. Dude, you know why I respect you guys a lot for coming here? Barb, you know why? You guys have a billion different options. Do you know how valuable that is? That you guys come here, whether it's 1,300 people in my chat room and 35,000. You know how many people watched my draft show the next day? 40,000 people watched my draft show. Little old Dan. 40,000 people watched my draft show. 40,000. Little old Dan. Can you imagine people out there And put all those 40,000 together. Want to know why ESPN's losing viewership? If you don't really have good content on there and you don't have good people delivering it, it's over. Just like that. Just like that. It's over. Mateo, that's kind of you, man. Dude, seriously. You guys, hey, whether there's two people in here or I'm talking to two people, I know more view. I look at the same two people as I do 2,000 people. I told my aunt, I'll never lower my standards. I never will. Whether I'm on the radio or I'm here or whatever I do, I never lower my standards. I think you have to deliver content no matter what because it's about me giving a good product every day and never giving a layup. Okay? What I love about... Thank you, James. James, very few places where you can be real still. But James, can I tell you what being real is? Accepting your criticism too. Accepting your criticism. Dan got a Washington fan coming to watch his show. He's doing something right. Hey, James, I feel for you, dude, in Washington. What a great fan base that's been totally urinated on. Terrible, man. Dude, I used to go to RFK. That building would rock and shake, and it was intimidating. What a fabulous fan base. Then they decided to think they were smarter than everybody else in Washington and moved the damn thing to Landover, Maryland. There's not Washington Redskin fans out in Landover, Maryland. What are you, psycho? Landover, Maryland? What do you, how do you get away from the inner city of Washington, D.C.? The African-American community in that city are Washington Redskin fans. It's not the politicians that show up in the big seats. Okay? It's the fans in that community. Now what they want to do is try to hold the Commanders here, okay, and their fans hostage to try to get another building. And because they think Josh Harris now owns a team, that'll be an easy putt to get people who are working on their schools and working on their communities and having better housing and opportunities in their city in D.C. for minority kids working on their parks and shit. They think they're going to build them another stadium. Why don't you just go out there and fix up RFK? I mean, doesn't it shock you? How does Arrowhead do it? And how does Lambeau do it? Arrowhead Stadium is a landmark. RFK was a landmark. Why don't you just fix it up and let it, instead of letting it turn into a shithole? Jack Kent could move the Redskins out of D.C. Yeah, because he held the fan base hostage. You think owners pay for them stadiums being moved? Come on, man. They threaten you with moving the team somewhere. Look at the 49ers. Look at Niner fan. Niner fan, you think they got Niner fans? Those are Napa Valley fans. They moved it south of the Raiders. Santa Clara south of the Raiders. Candlestick Point was a shithole. Okay? Was a shithole. But at least it was in the middle of the city. You know, I love what they got in Baltimore. That stadium downtown. They got about 35,000 parking. I've been to that Baltimore stadium. I actually like that. It's right there on the wharf there they've really improved that area of Baltimore. It's pretty cool. You can go down really nice restaurants down there now. I went there for Army Navy. Man, that's a really great setup that they have. They have mass transit. I really love that, man. Okay, I do. I love that thing. I mean, I love how Baltimore built that stadium downtown the way they have. Okay. Right, Barb. It's right off the highway. I mean, it doesn't have a lot of parking, but they designed it that way so you have to use mass transit to get to the stadium. Smart. Got to use mass transit to get to Baltimore Stadium. Great. Spectacular steam crabs. I like Baltimore. I do. I've always liked it. I love that city. I love DC too, man. DC's a fun place. I took my daughter there to the Smithsonian years ago. My daughter wanted to go to DC, so she goes, "Where do you want to go?" I go, "Where do you want to go?" She goes, "The Smithsonian." So we spent about, 8 hours at the Smithsonian, had lunch, went over, saw some of the other stuff that we went to. I like Philly's setup too, where they have like I liked where the Link and Wells Fargo, they have it all kind of in the same parking lot. It's kind of like what Arrowhead has, Kauffman Stadium, where the Royals play and the Chiefs play. It's kind of like, it's got that dynamic too, where, you have that park and all that parking in there. I like that too, man. I like that setup that Lincoln Financial has. And then right across the way over there, you have Wells Fargo there. I like that. If I'm not mistaken, wasn't the old vet in that parking lot there too? Am I right? Am I right when I say that? Tone, that the vet was in there too, right? Where the parking lot is? Right? Or was it across the street? Let me think. Lincoln Financial's here. Wells Fargo's here. Was it across the street over here? Yeah, I think that's how the setup was. I actually got a picture. My friend took a picture of the vet getting knocked down. I have a picture of the vet being knocked down. Okay. Vet was right next door. Okay. What a great ballpark that thing was. And let me talk a little bit more about the bloodletting that's going on at ESPN. What's happened is that the rights, college football, NFL, now they brought hockey in. The NBA never delivered. The NBA never delivered. Why do you think they have tons of show about NBA content and no one watches it? Dude, I can't think of it. Like you guys in here right now, I think every single show should have a meter that shows host when you go to a topic, how fast it is you lose people's interest. The NBA doesn't have people's interest. Certain dudes move the needle. The Harden story kind of moves it a bit, but the NBA doesn't move the needle. It's filler. It's not compelling. What's compelling about free agency in NBA? What's compelling? What's compelling? What's the storyline? What's more interesting? Where Dalvin Cook and D-Hop land or where James Harden lands? What's more compelling? What appeals to more fans? Would Cook and D-Hop in their potential landing spots or a washed-up James Harden? Why sit around and talk about James Harden in an organization that hasn't gotten it right in 15 years? Actually, do you know that the 76ers haven't been interesting since Iverson was there? No, Ben Simmons. That whole fiasco was interesting. It was content. At least you were interesting. It was shitty interest, but it was interesting. Now you're just boring. and hurt and underachieving. And that's your process. Rightfully so, Tone wearing a black Sixer hat today. They should be selling those by the bunches. Black Sixer hats. I mean, they haven't been interesting in a good way since Iverson was there. And you talk about, now we're talking about a washed up James Harden. Okay. If ESPN is firing people because they spent too much money on the NBA package and they never delivered for them, you really think that NBA basketball is interesting, even in Philly? It's like kind of being contrived here, and people are really pushing hard to make it interesting. Whew. You know, hey, can I say this to you, Tone, without hurting your feelings? We got a new curse. You remember the curse of the babe? We got the Jimmy Butler curse. You guys got the Jimmy Butler curse. Let loose of the wrong guy. Hey, isn't it funny? You let loose of the wrong guy twice. I never thought about that. You guys let loose of the wrong guy twice. You let loose of Foles and you let loose of Jimmy Butler. How crazy is that? And they cost both those franchises opportunities at winning with those two moves. Think about that. Think of that. They moved off of Foles and they moved off of Butler. One guy is taking an NBA team to 2 finals. Okay? The other guy delivered you a Super Bowl. Moved off the wrong guys. Yeah, ESPN right now, firing all these guys. They still got to get through 7K by January. ESPN radio will not be around. I talked to Trug Keller, who helped start that thing with a couple friends of mine back in the day. Tony Bruno was like the first show on that thing. And they said that if they make it to January, they'll be shocked. You see, ESPN Radio and CBS Radio and Fox Sports Radio, when I started, I was the very first person hired at Fox Sports Radio with Bruno. That's a fact. I was the first person hired for Fox Sports Radio. And you can't have those networks in places like Philly. Why do you think Philly has 24/7 on WIP? You think a local guy like Yale or Tone or Xander or anybody are going to listen to somebody talking about the NBA in the middle of the night in Philly, or listening to them talk about the Lions at 2:30 in the morning? Not happening. Not happening. If you notice, the two most successful stations Odyssey has are WFAN and WIP, and they're the only stations in sports that they have that they go 24/7. And it's all local. Everything's local. I'd rather have you talking to me about cheesesteaks than talking to me about the Jaguars at night and where to eat in Philly than talking to me about the Dolphins. Nobody. You guys, hey, you guys don't have time for that. I don't give a shit about that team. I don't give a shit about anything but Philly. That's why it's Buffalo too, but Buffalo doesn't have 24/7. You guys would never listen to a national network and give those guys the time of day. You might listen to Stephen A. Smith because he worked at the Inquirer. But national radio, see, when they did consolidation back in the day, and they bought all these stations like iHeart did, and it was Clear Channel at the time, I was there for all this. They decided to get 5 or 6 radio hosts, and then they were going to syndicate it using these networks, and they were going to go cheap on you. That's what they did. Now they're paying for that because they haven't developed any talent, And now they got to fire all these high price. And then the biggest mistake they made was they put TV personalities don't work in radio. Do you know? Hey, Yale, the only person that has ever worked that was a television guy on radio and TV at ESPN, in my opinion, is Tony Kornheiser. Tony Kornheiser is the only guy I can think of. Okay? Tony Kornheiser is the only guy I can think of that has worked on TV, and he had a very successful show. James can tell you at WTEM, very successful show. High ratings, big numbers, great revenue. And PTI, in my opinion, is still the best show on ESPN. I love PTI. Okay? Danny, if you lived in Philly and did your show, you would be number one in the world. Thank you, Barb. Thank you, Barb. Barb, I want to show you something, though. Just so you know. I'll expose something here. Xander will probably kill me for this. You guys know that I don't do the show in Philly. But I'm one of the most watched shows now in Philly. That's called talent. Someone asked me at Spotify, how are you killing it in Philadelphia and getting advertisers? And people wanted to advertise like Morgan & Morgan and Hooters and all these other people. I said talent. I said talent. There's not a show at the Fanatic that has more viewers than me. I'm destroying them. Talent. You're right, Barb. That's why I'll be in Philly. I don't come out of the Dan Cave. Barb, I don't come out of the Dan Cave, but I'm coming out of the Dan Cave for you guys. I don't do public appearances. I don't leave my house for less than $5,000. But Big Sills is coming out. I'm coming out this year. And Xander will probably be like this. I still have my ticket from 2 years ago. I still have my ticket from 2 years ago. Sills kills the birds too much. Here, look. This guy says I killed the birds, and I said you make it to the Super Bowl a year ago. I kill them. I kill them with love. Okay? Philadelphia lacks talent? Yeah, Angelo's not there. Absolutely. Sills, will Barb be at who? Hey, okay? Here's what I'm going to do for you guys. Will you guys behave yourself? If I say this, I'm working on Joy Taylor showing up this fall. I don't know when she can. She's going to be in the Philly area. Okay? And I'm working on her showing up at one of the Hooters that we're going to be showing up to. Okay? I'm working on Michael Vick. I'm going to have like a celebrity with me a couple times. I'm working on Jeremiah Trotter. Seth will show up with me. Seth is in Europe. He's going to come on next week, by the way. Okay? Hey, can I have a couple Giant guys show up, like Otis Anderson? Dude, I'll tell you this. Would you guys show up if I had LT there? LT's showed up at one of my event one time in Florida. Wow. Was it epic? You got to remember something, too, man. He'll drop a couple F-bombs on you. Would you guys show up if I put LT? You guys would show up if I bring... Okay, so Lawrence Taylor, I'm friends with LT. We know it's love. That's why you should come to WIP. That's really nice of you. I'm awake. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. You guys, Bavaro? Only Bavaro and LT's JM. Classic. Hey, man, what a week, huh? Mateo, George Foreman, Gary Sheffield. Had Ice Cube on the week before. Hey, Tone, right? Kind of working it. Kurt Schilling, too. I mean, we get them all on, man. Do me a favor, guys. Please hit the like button. Keep it here on the National Football Show.
Heading down the shore. Have a ball once more.
Here, imaginations run wild and time stands still. Because here, you can find the best of the Jersey Shore, all on one 5-mile island. So leave the old you behind and get lost in the woods.
Wild, wild, wild wood days.
Score and save in southeastern PA and Delaware with Colony Pools this football season, and let the experts close your pool with a custom Merlin safety cover in green for the birds. And if you join our Winter Watch team, we'll give you another 20% off, and Colony Pools will handle it all. Keep your tiles on your pool, not in your pool. Fly with Colony right now, Birds fans. Visit flywithcolony.com.
Hi everybody, my name's Jason Lombardi. I'm an inspector at DryTech. At DryTech we offer three major services, the first one being basement waterproofing, the second service we offer is foundation and structural repairs, and then the third service that we offer is mold remediation. If you feel you are having a waterproofing issue, give DryTech a call or check us out online.
EAGLES, Eagles.
Reed, I'm working on Brock Purdy through his dad. His dad's a Hurricane. Okay, his dad played college ball at Miami. And he's a little bit after me, I think. Like a couple years after me. So I'm working on Brock Purdy. And I don't know why the kid didn't go to Miami. He went to Iowa State. And I asked the dad, I go, how come he go to Miami? He goes, Miami didn't offer him. Yeah, because we've had some really great quarterbacks over the last 10 years at Miami, man. I'm like, so we didn't even offer Brock Purdy we didn't even offer him a scholarship to go to Miami. He wasn't bad at Iowa State. They won a bunch of games up there. JM, I like yours too. Big Sills can't be all that bad with all these connections. Now you're getting it, JM. You see, if you read dumbasses on the internet, you would think. You see, but then again, I work with a particular guy that, he's kind of like now, finding out a little bit about, I won't name any names. So, sorry, I hope you didn't hear that. Not name any names or anything. So let me ask you this, guys. Gary Sheffield. You think Gary Sheffield likes a racist? Why don't you ask Sheffield? You know, Sheffield stood on a little bit after I had him on my show. Dude, he don't tolerate that kind of shit. I have been in a, dude, I should show you the endless texts that I've gotten from Ice Cube and his battle going on with the NBA right now. Wow. So let me give you a little bit behind the scenes. He told me I could say this, and that's why he's going on this FU tour where he's not part of the club. So Cube goes, do you know that Adam Silver and the NBA are calling his advertisers up and Cube's advertisers and telling them not to invest in Big Three basketball and telling their advertisers, please don't support Big Three and Cube? Cube's like, why would he do that? I go, well, they want to start something themselves. And you're dipping in their logo. And he goes, I'm not doing anything. I love the NBA. I go, I get it. I know it. But they think you're making money because he knows I know Adam Silver. His wife went to school with me. And I've had Adam on. I mean, I know Adam Silver very well. He's from I think he's from Portchester, and I know the wife's from Stanford. And and I think they live in Rye, New York or some shit like that. And he's like, so I text Adam Silver and I said, Cube's, he goes, yeah, man. I mean, Cube's going around using our logo at times and using our brand to get advertisers to invest. And it sometimes comes off like Big Three is part of the NBA. And I'm like, did you tell Ice Cube this? And he goes, no. And so Cube's now, dude, so get this. And we've had Sean McManus on, right? The chairman of CBS Sports has been on this network about 4 times. The NBA went to Sean McManus and said, hey, please don't air Big Three basketball. See, The Rock is getting help from the NFL, and he's getting help from networks. The USFL has a network deal. All these guys have network deals. Okay? Big Three doesn't. So you want to hear what I did? My aunt doesn't even know this. Do you want to hear what I did for Ice Cube last night? You guys want to hear what I did? This is what I did for Ice Cube. Yeah, you'll love this. You know what I did for Ice Cube? I contacted Kevin Legret, who's head of iHeart Sports. He runs the whole division. He's the number 2 guy at iHeart. Okay? And I said to Cube, do you have a radio deal? He goes, no. I go, you don't have a radio deal for Big Three. So I put those two in communication. I said, Kevin Legret, this is Ice Cube. Ice Cube needs a radio deal for his league. Kevin goes, hey, I've met you a couple times in Los Angeles. Please let us know if there's anything we can do for you. Ice Cube texted me back. He goes, holy shit, dude. I said, put Amy Trask on it. See if you guys can get some type of money and some type of exposure using, radio. Okay? So he texted me back last night. He goes, damn, dude. I said, hey, friends are friends, dog. You come on my show. What do you think? I'm just asking you to come on my show for free? You need me for anything, man. I've known you 25 years. Okay? Do a 3-on-3 stream. Okay? I mean, right, Yale? I mean, look, man. That's what you do for people. And that's what you do for your friends. Guy needs something. Yeah, because now you know he's battling the NBA. You're not going to win that battle. So what you do is you do what Sun Tzu said. You pull back, you evaluate, you assess your own strengths and weaknesses, and then you attack. And that's kind of what he's doing right now. So, hey, I hope everyone has a fantastic 4th of July weekend. Be safe out there. Hey, I don't want right? We don't want anyone to come back like this. Do you know who this is, right? I don't need anybody coming back on the stream like Jason Pierre-Paul and you're coming back with missed digits. Or like you're Spock or something. You know what I mean? I mean, you're the Vulcan guy or whatever. I don't want anybody coming back like Jason Pierre-Paul going, Sills, man, I had a cherry bomb and it blew up in my hand. I can't have that on my conscience. It's not going to be good. Now, we're going to be off for a bit until Wednesday. And it's really weird kind of how the 4th of July is rolling this year. So I want to wish everybody, thank you so much. And again, you guys have so many options. You come here every day. It's a true honor to have you guys here. Please be safe this weekend. Have a ton of fun. Xander, Big Joe, thank you. Tone, man, it's fun being with you. I love doing my show with you, man. I really do. I haven't had a producer that I've said that to since Jory was on my program, and you keep doing it. And you make sure you and your family have a blessed holiday. And we will see you Wednesday, 3 to 6. To all of you out there, God bless, and we'll catch you on the flip side.